run away.
Everybody, it's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another episode of DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. And like always, guys, before I continue with the video, I would appreciate you guys drop a like on the video. And if you have not, as of yet, subscribed to the channel, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on those bell notifications. This way you will not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Thursday, June 28th, 2018. We have a two-game slate here, as you can see on my screen. And on Fanduel, New York is going out to visit Washington, and we have the LA Spark going out to visit Seattle. Implied totals for the New York-Washington game, we have a total of 159 total for that game, with Washington at home favored by 8.5. Washington right now stands second in the league in scoring at 85.1 points per game, third in field goal percentage at 45.9%, first in three-point percentage at 36.6%, 10th in rebound at 31.3 rebounds per game. They're seventh in points per game given up to guards at 33.8 points per game, and they're tied actually with New York for the 8th spot as far as points per game given up to forwards and centers at 48.6 points per game. New York's line, 10th in points, 75.5 points per game. They're 10th in field goal percentage at 41.6%, 9th in three-point percentage at 31.4%, 9th in rebounds at 32.6 rebounds per game. They are 4th in points per game given up to guards at 30.6 points per game. And like I said before, they're tied with Washington Mystics with 48.6 points per game given up to forwards. As we look here at the screen, we're starting off with Christie Tolliver. Christie Tolliver, definitely a fine play. As you guys know, I really have always, if you watch my videos, I've always loved Christie Tolliver. Her price has been pretty steady as of late. She's 5,600. You need about 27 from Christie Tolliver to make value in this game. The minutes have been massive: 37, 27, 33, and 35. She put up a 35 spot in the last game against Connecticut. That's 1 fantasy point per minute. You know how much I really, really love someone who can give me 1 fantasy point per minute. As a fantasy player, we just love that. So 35 and 35 is absolutely awesome. She's averaging 14.8 points per game, 4.4 assists a game, 1.6 steals, shooting 47% from the floor and 41% from three. I mean, she's absolutely has been dynamite this year. She's facing New York. New York is, like I said before, they're 4th best defending against guards. You know, man, this is Christie Tolliver, man. You know, I mean, she is fantastic. New York has not faced Washington yet as of at this point so far this year. So this is definitely the first time they're going to face one another. I still think Christie has had some great success. We'll go really quickly back to her again here. I'm doing this video the night before. It's actually still 10:30 or almost 11 o'clock Wednesday night, and I don't have my Fantasy Cruncher for this video because Fantasy Cruncher doesn't update their information until the following day, so after midnight, and I didn't really want to stay up to midnight and do the video early in the morning, so I wanted to crank this one out for you guys. But let's see here the competition. She faced Connecticut, which is considered one of the better defensive teams, as we all know. She put up 35. Chicago is definitely weak in the backcourt. LA is another one. She put 15 in that one in 37 minutes, so definitely that was not a good game. Against Connecticut, she put 40 in the other game against Connecticut, 15 here against Connecticut, 40 spot here against Phoenix, against Diana Taurasi and Dewana Bonner, so that's definitely a good team. She put up 28 here against Jewel Lloyd, 29 here against Minnesota, who at the beginning of the year really suffered, but they're playing a lot better defensively against guards right now. So but she's had a pretty good resume thus far this year against some of the better teams. So I really think she has an excellent shot here to really meet value, crush value actually. So I definitely advise anybody, if you're looking to target anybody in this game as far as guard is concerned, definitely Christie Tolliver is on top of the list. Natacha Cloud, not a bad play. She's 4,900. She is averaging 7.6 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 39% from the floor. Not too bad. she is minutes a little up and down. As you can see, she had massive minutes here a couple of games back, 24, 34, 34, 24, 24, 28. And then all of a sudden a drop here against Connecticut. That was obviously Connecticut started blowing them out. So obviously she didn't get to stay on the floor much. 18 minutes, put up 4, 3, 2, and a 9.6 fantasy points. Really, really a dreadful game. But she is definitely not a bad play. At this price, you need about 24 from her, nearly 25. She's only averaging 19. Definitely a tough spot for her. But I think this is a favorable matchup. If you want to save some money, you go with Miss Cloud. You'll save yourself $700 off of Christie Tolliver. Obviously, the best play here is Christie Tolliver for Washington. Okay, so Natacha Cloud is in play if you want to save $600. I think she'll be fine here, but I think the best play is definitely Christie. All right, guys. Brittany Boyd for New York. Her price has been going up. I remember when she was only $3,200. I remember when I was telling you guys that we're waiting for Brittany Boyd to come back because she was a very integral part of this team last year, and I told you also to be patient and wait until she's getting the minutes and she's actually getting floor time and gets herself in the flow of the offense again. And offensively, she's not putting up large numbers, but what she does so well is that she defends. You know, she gets the steals, she gets assists, she rebounds. She's willing to do a little bit of the dirty work, and that's the reason why her numbers have been pretty good. As you can see, 27, 26, and 25 fantasy points here. Did have a 15 spot here. But again, 15 fantasy points, guys, in 16 minutes. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. She's not going to be scoring the lights out. She's but she fills up the stat sheet in those other areas like rebounding, assists, blocks, and steals. She didn't get any blocks and steals here, but as you can see, 1, 3, 2, 1. I mean, I think I got her numbers here. She's and since she started really getting back in the flow of the offense here, she's been putting up 7 steals, 41 assists, and 23 rebounds. And that's the reason why her fantasy points have been this good. Now she needs to get about 20, almost 25 here to meet value, and she's only averaging 15. But she is doing that as of late. 25 here, 26 here, 27 here. So she's 25 plus in 3 out of her last 4 starts, or 3 out of her last 4 games. So definitely, Miss Boyd is in play here. For New York, she's probably the best play. We go down here. I'm not on Shavante. Ariel Atkins would not be a bad play. 4,700. You need about 23 from her to meet value. She's been putting up some nice numbers. 25 here, a 25 spot here, a 20 spot here, and in the last game against Connecticut, this is against Connecticut, she put up a 30 spot. So definitely Ariel Atkins, and she is actually a rookie, guys. For those who are the first time here and don't follow WNBA, she is a rookie, and she's doing fairly well here. So Ariel Atkins, AA, is definitely in play for me in this game. All right. Kia Nurse is another rookie too for New York. 4,600. I'm not too much on Kia Nurse. She's been putting decent numbers early on in the year, and now as of late, it's just been not so consistent. I mean, they even dropped her minutes, 13 and 18 over the last 2 games, 15 and 3 fantasy points. It's just not enough for me at 4,600. You need her to put in about 20, almost 24, 23. She's averaging 18, but she's not even putting nowhere near the 20s in the last, wow. I mean, going all the way down here. The last time she put up anything above 20 was back on June the 2nd. So definitely, again, cardinal sin. Do not pay up for someone unless there's some sort of injury or something like that that actually puts her in play. She's going to get her minutes, but she's not going to get sufficient minutes at this moment, especially now that Brittany Boyd has been playing so well and she's back. Now she's going to get a little bit of the back burner here, and she's going to lose out on the minutes, and that's exactly what's happened. Bria Hartley, on the other hand, has done very well, stepping in, getting minutes, and she's actually been bringing her numbers up slowly but surely. 23, 17, 23. She's averaging pretty much 23 minutes over the last 5 games. She has a couple of dud games here, but as you can see, she has a 32 spot here, 24, 23. She has the potential to get you the 21, 22 you need, and I think that she can do that here against New York. And if you're willing to save a few dollars, maybe she's a fine play. If you want to pay $400 more and take her teammate Brittany Boyd, I don't think I'll be mad at you with that. I think overall the best play here is Christie Tolliver. I like Christie Tolliver in this slate, and then of course I like the guards better in the other slate, in the other game. So definitely, this is a game that you can target some of the players. I would say more so the forwards. But as far as guards are concerned, Christie Tolliver hands down. All right. I am not on anybody else. Someone that could be a little sneaky play could be Monique Curry. At 3,900, you need about 19. She's averaging 14. So you might consider her. If her minutes can go up a little bit more, she could be someone of consideration. As you can see, her numbers are pretty balanced. 15 minutes, 14 fantasy points. I'll take that. 13 minutes, 11.4 fantasy points. Not too bad. Here, 10 minutes, 13.4 fantasy points. That's more than 1 fantasy point per minute. So, I mean, is she getting close to the 19 that they're asking? At least, again, this is all based on 5 times value. Okay, I definitely always go with NBA, WNBA 5 times value if I can. All right, so this is all based on that. And then, I don't think she's a bad play here. Overall, like I said, Christie Tolliver, I think, is the best play here. We go to the forwards. Elena Delle Donne, man, she has been just absolutely been fantastic since coming back from being she wasn't injured. I think she was just had an illness. But nonetheless, Elena Delle Donne, 8,600. You need from her 43, and she's averaging pretty much 37 and a half, almost 38 fantasy points per game. But look at the monster games she has had. 42, 40, 43, 57, and 42. She's had 40 plus in 5 straight games. She's playing sufficient minutes, anywhere between 35 and 36 minutes. Had a little drop here because obviously they were winning the games, so she didn't have to play any more additional minutes, but 31 minutes a game is pretty darn good. She's averaging 19.7 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal, 1.5 blocks per game, shooting 49% lights out from the floor, and 37, pretty much 38% from 3 for a big girl. I mean, she's very, very impressive. She has definitely been a true leader for this team since coming back. So Elena Delle Donne is one of my favorites in this actual slate tonight. Definitely love her there. We go down further. Tina Charles, not a bad spot for Tina. As I said before, both teams are pretty much even as far as points per game given up to forwards and centers. So Tina Charles is in a favorable matchup here against Elena Delle Donne. 7,800 you need from her. Wow, you need about 38 from her. And she hasn't put 38 up in 3 games. She put 37 here, pretty close. So in 2 games, she hasn't hit 38. Phoenix and LA are very good teams. She definitely had her troubles there with Brittany Griner as well as Candice Parker and Neka Okuma Kay. So definitely a tough spot for her. Today, with Elena Delle Donne, it's not going to get any easier, but I think she has an opportunity here to put up 30 plus. I don't know if she's going to get to 38, but she is. We know that she's capable of it. We know that she's got 40, almost 50 point upside. So definitely she is in play just for the upside. GPP play, absolutely, hands down, she's capable of getting it done. All right. So, I mean, Tina Charles, not in a bad position. She's averaging 19.4 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.5 steals, and shooting 44% from the floor. Not too shabby. All right. Tina Charles. We go down. We got Latoya Sanders. I definitely have loved Latoya. She has definitely have stepped up quite a bit for the Mystics. She's averaging 8 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 1.2 steals, 1.1 blocks, shooting an incredible 69.6% from the floor, nearly 70%. At 5,700, you need about 28 from her. And she's been putting more than 28. She's hit 28-3 out of her last 4 games. She had this little dud game here, and that's all due to the fact that they blew out Chicago. So she didn't play a whole lot of minutes here. 36, 35, and 28, 25. These are impressive numbers. 1 against Connecticut. Okay, 1 against Chicago, which is a weaker team. Did put 28 against LA against Candice Parker and Neka. And then she did the same thing here with Shanae for Connecticut twice. So, yeah, I mean, she is definitely in play. I think she's rock solid for today. I'm willing to pay up for her. So I don't see no reason why you can't even pair up these two, Sanders and Delle Donne. I think they got a tremendous advantage. New York really only has Tina Charles up front. Amanda Zui B is okay, but she's not Sanders, and she's not even Hawkins. With Hawkins, Sanders, and Delle Donne there, I see New York definitely. They should be Washington should definitely be attacking New York's front court, and I think they have the advantage there. So I'm all over Delle Donne and Sanders, and I think everybody else should be as well. Other than that, any sneaky plays here? Not necessarily. I don't think of anybody else. I'm ready to move on. Let's move on to the LA and Seattle game. LA Seattle. All right. I don't have a totals at this moment as of 11 p.m. tonight. I don't have any totals on this game, but LA is going out to visit Seattle. And Seattle right now is currently the top scoring team in the league at 87.8 points per game. They're second in field goal percentage at 46.8%, third in three-point percentage at 35.9%, sixth in rebounds at 34.4 rebounds per game, 10th in points per game given to guards at 36.2. So they have a weakness there. And third in points per game given up to forwards and centers at 45 points per game. The LA Spark, they're eighth in the league in scoring at 79.9, nearly pretty much 80 points per game. First in field goal percentage, 47.7%. That is pretty much even with Seattle, only like a half a percentage higher. Seventh in three-point percentage. They don't shoot the rock that well, 34% from three. Last in rebounds. They have moved up. They were once 28 rebounds per game. Slowly but surely, they've worked it up. They're up to 30 rebounds per game, but that is still dead last in the WNBA. Points per game given up to guards, they're second at 30.2 points per game, and they're seventh in points per game given up to forwards. All right, so a lot of favorable areas. We like the fact that they're going up against the the 10th best team against points for guards. So definitely you can target some of the LA Spark guards in this particular matchup. So let's go right to the guards here. Jewel Lloyd definitely has had her little troubles as of late. Like I've said in the last few videos about Jewel Lloyd, I love her. I think she's a great ball player. Right now, she's still a little overpriced. Her price has come down about $200 more over the last game or two. She was once at $8,000. She got down to $78. Then I think she was $77. Now she's $76 for this matchup here. I still think that she's, as of late, has not reached that number, at least as far as getting value. Even though this is a two-game slate, you definitely could favor and not fade Jewel Lloyd here and take her as probably the top guard here in the actual two-game slate. But I'm still favoring some of the mid-tier guards and maybe shooting for a couple of the bigger players up front in this particular slate. So at 7,600 Jewel Lloyd, you need about 37. And my concerns are, like I said before in the previous game that she played on that video, is that she hasn't quite hit 37 that often as of late. As you can see, she only had that 41 spot here. This is not even 37. Against Vegas, she put up a 32, which is a nice outing. 35 minutes, 32.9 fantasy points. We'll take that any day. But it's not consistent enough. 29, 26. I haven't seen 9 here. One of the worst games she has ever played was against Minnesota the other night. 27.5 fantasy points against Dallas. She's had her trouble with Dallas both times that she's played Dallas. Not quite, herself. But again, I mean, to me, it's just, see, those numbers were great right here in this little stretch here. But she hasn't been in that 38 range, 37 range since this Washington game back on May 29th. So I'm a little concerned with that. I'd rather not pay that price. And you could definitely shoot for a Chelsea Gray. But let's look over Jewel's numbers. 17 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1 steal, shooting 42% from the floor and 35.6% from three. They have played each other once before. Seattle won that game 88-63. They blew out LA in LA. So I know LA is going to want payback in this game. The only problem with these two teams is that they both could be kind of inconsistent as far as winning consistently, and they have those moments where they just don't shoot well, they don't play well, and they get blown out. And this is what happened when Seattle and LA played each other several weeks back. So but Jewel Lloyd didn't have an explosive big game against LA in that one game. She put up a 21 spot in that game, and that's basically it. Even though that was a big win, now granted it was a blowout, maybe she didn't play as many minutes. As a matter of fact, we could take a quick look right here. When she played LA, right here, she only played 22 minutes. That's probably the reason why. 22 minutes, 21 fantasy points. Hey, that is not bad. I'll take that any day. So she didn't get her typical 30 plus minutes due to the fact that they were blowing out LA, so it was not necessary. So it's tough to gauge going into this game on how it's gonna all unfold, because we don't know if LA is gonna play a better game or Seattle's just gonna dominate them again, or vice versa. So anything can happen as far as Jewel Lloyd, as well as the young lady we're gonna speak about next, Chelsea Gray for LA. All right, Chelsea Gray only put up a 20 spot in their first game, 7,300. You need from her 36. She's pretty much at 36 in the last game, and she had a 36 spot here 3 games before that and a 42 spot. So 3 out of her last 5 games, she has met that. She's actually done better than Jewel Lloyd, and that's the reason why her price has gone up from 6,800 to 7,000 to now 7,300 over the course of the last 3 or 4 games. So, but she's averaging 14.9 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.4 steals, shooting 48% from the floor. The only difference here with LA, these girls are good guards. They don't shoot the 3-point shot as effective as Seattle does. Seattle, I think, has about 4 or 5 players that can hit that 3 at least at 30% or better clip. So that's the concern here. If the Seattle gets those 3s going and these guys cannot defend them, they're gonna find themselves possibly in another blowout. But as far as this matchup here, either one of these two, you can't go wrong. You want to save 300, you go with Chelsea Gray. You want to pay up and pay for the top guard in this entire slate, then you'll pay for Jewel Lloyd at 7,600. I would prefer to come all the way down and choose Sue Bird, okay, the old veteran here. 6,000, you need 30, and Sue Bird has been playing really well, 30 in the last 2 out of the last 3 games. When she played this team the first time around, she put up 23 in 22 minutes in the blowout situation, so not too bad at all. She's averaging 8.5 points, 6.6 assists, 1.2 steals. Shooting, so-so, 38% from the floor and 32% from 3. She normally shoots better from the floor and from 3-point range. This year she's been really under 40 pretty much the whole season thus far. But I like her here. I think she's in a good spot. Her price is a little high, but she's met that value, pretty much in the last 3 games. She has played well enough to, that I feel that she's worth that 6K for this matchup here tomorrow against LA. Odyssey Sims, I'm not on Odyssey Sims, even though she's averaging 11 points per game, 3.2 assists, and shooting 43% from the floor. She's not a good 3-point shooter. Her numbers have been really down as of late as well. 16-4, 16-4. It's just not enough for me. So I am not on Odyssey Sims. Essence Carson has been getting a little bit more run than Sims, playing pretty well as Rakina Williams. So these are girls that you can consider. Carson or Williams, not bad. I'm not on Elena Beard, pretty decent defender. But Essence Carson, she's averaging 6.1 points, 2.4 rebounds, shooting 44.4% from the floor, and 30% at least from 3. At 4,500, you need about 23 from her. And she's averaging 13.3, which is pretty high. But she did put up a 26 spot in 26 minutes against Dallas the other day. I guess they are gauging that FanDuel on bringing her price up that high. She could be a very sneaky play here. Seattle is 10th in giving up points to guards, so definitely LA should have the advantage as far as the matchup is concerned. So if Sims is not playing well enough, you can consider Carson. I kind of like Williams better. I did take her in the her last game, and she played fairly well. 3,700. I love the price at 1,700. At 3,700, you need 17 from her, and she got me 17 in the last game against Dallas in 18 minutes. That's nearly 1 fantasy point per minute. You cannot go wrong with that, folks. She put up a 35 spot against New York the game prior to that. So, yeah, I could see her being a really sneaky play here, someone that definitely you should keep your eye on. If you want to save some money and get a cheap value play here, she may be that one individual out of this particular slate that you can actually pencil in there. Jordan Canada, 4K, you need 20, and she's averaging 15.2. I did have her in her last matchup against Minnesota, and she came through and gave me 21.5 fantasy points. That's more than 1 fantasy point per minute because she only played 17 minutes. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Not too bad. She did not do anything else. I really like to see steals and blocks, especially from guards, especially as quick as she is, too. She should definitely be a better defender, but she's more of an offensive-minded kid from what I've seen thus far, but she is capable of being a good defender and get those steals. So she could be a nice little play here. I still like Williams a little bit better on the $300 savings there. I would definitely will go after that instead. We go to the forwards in this matchup. Brianna Stewart, 8,500, top dog. She's one of the top big men in the league. She's in a good matchup here against LA. LA is definitely, struggling. As we know, LA is 7th, not truly struggling, in the middle of the pack. 7th in giving up points per game. How many are they giving? 47.5 fantasy points per game. Points per game. She's 8,500. You need 40. You need about 41, 42. No, you need about 43 from her, and she's averaging 42.3. Numbers have been ridiculous. 50 here, 47, 50 here, 35, 56, 48. I mean, she has 50, 55-point upside. She's played some very good big men over the last few games with Liz Cambage here and over here against Miss Sylvia Fowles. Candice Dupree here, Asia Wilson here, and Shanae Okuma Kay here. I mean, it goes on and on. She's played all the top people, and she's putting up the points no matter what. She's averaging 22.3 points, 7.7 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, shooting 53.8%, pretty much 54% from the floor, and 36% from three. Very impressive for a big girl. Very impressive. All right. The last time she played these guys, LA, she only played 27 minutes. Am I correct? Yes, 27 minutes, 16, 5, and 2, 28 fantasy points. That is the last time she had the lowest amount of points other than the 16th spot against Atlanta. And it's all due to the fact that both of these games, they were blowouts. They beat up LA here, as like I said before, 88-63. So there was no need for her to play 30, 35 massive minutes. And she still put up more than 1 fantasy point per minute in the 27 minutes as she put up 28 fantasy points. Fantasy players like myself love it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That's what we should be all gauging for. All right, guys? Very much. Very, very important. So, yeah, she's definitely in play, man. Hands down. There's nothing more to discuss here. I mean, she's definitely in play. We move on. Candice Parker, 8,200. Definitely another nice play. She only put a 16 spot in 19 minutes in that previous game against Seattle, and it was all due to the fact, obviously, that they were getting blown out, so there was no need for Candice Parker to be on the floor. I mean, they were literally blown out. 15, 20 points throughout the course of the game. They never could get going. So they sacked Candice Parker. She only played 19 minutes, put up 16 fantasy points. Not too bad for 19 minutes, but that's the reason why. And that's the only time. That was actually the last time she put these kind of numbers up. As you can see from here on the screen, 43, 27, 51, 38, 33, 28, 41, 47. She's faced all the top opponents as well as far as front court opponents, and she's been doing her, she's been doing her thing. 16.7 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.2 blocks, 54% from the floor, and 38.5% from three. Definitely Candice Parker can get you there. I love big men more so than the shooting guards. I think they pay off their value a lot better and more so and more often as far as percentage-wise than the stud guards. So something also to always consider when you're doing WNBA, even NBA. All right? No different. That's what I've learned over the years. So let's move on. Natacha Okuma Kay, she is right now a game-time decision, as you see here on the screen. She's one of the top forwards in this league. If she does play, she did get a 29 spot the last time she played against this team. If I can get it up here on the screen, 29 spot. And she did that in 19 minutes, guys. 19 minutes, 29 fantasy points. She had 1 point per minute. 1 scoring point per minute, which is even better. And, of course, she exceeded the 1 fantasy point per minute. She smashed it here with 29.2 in 19 minutes in a blowout situation. They sat her down. She was doing her thing. It was just pretty much the Okuma Kay show. That's pretty much what happened, and they say, hey, you know what, enough is enough. We're not going to keep our one of our best players on the court. So Natacha Okuma Kay, definitely at 7,500, you need 36. She's averaging 32.5. She didn't play in the last game here, and we have to wait and see. If she does play, she's definitely a fine play. 16.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 1.4 steals, shooting 48% from the floor. So, I mean, we will wait and see. Natasha Howard, definitely a fine play tomorrow. Her price has been going up, but she has been playing fantastic. 7,100. You need 35 pretty much from her. She's averaging 30. And the last time she played LA, she played 28 minutes, and she lit them up for 40 fantasy points, guys. 40 fantasy points. 28 minutes, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 1 steal. This lady fills up the stat sheet. If you look across the board here, there's always some sort of blocks or some sort of steals. I love this. This is the type of player I would love to find in every freaking matchup, depending on price and depending on the matchup. 7,100. She's in a favorable matchup here, okay, with the seventh best team defending against points per game against forwards and centers. I like them here. It's a tough matchup. If Okuma Kay doesn't play, my mindset is right away saying, well, Stewart and Natasha Howard are going to have an easier time just dealing with just Candice Parker. All right, so that is something to consider here. So Natasha Howard, let's go over her numbers. She's averaging 13.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1.2 steals, 1.8 blocks, shooting 58% from the floor and 35% from three. Another girl that can shoot the three. That's her, Stewart, two big men that can shoot the three. Then you got Canada at 35%, Sue Bird at 32%, and Jewel Lloyd at pretty much 36%. So you got 5-6 players right there. And that's not including Alicia Clark here, who's a very good 40-50% shooter from three. She's a game-time decision too, but I'm not on her. Obviously, when you have an ankle injury, even Okuma Kay with back, I would definitely be targeting Parker, Stewart, or Natasha Howard, not Nneka if she's having back issues, if she plays. I'm always preaching to everybody on here. If you listen to my videos, watch my videos long enough, I always say you got to watch out for the girls that come back from injury. Ankles definitely takes a little while, may be a little sore. She might not be 100%. So I'm going to fade her at 5,000. You need 25. I mean, I don't think she's going to go out there and get 25. I could be wrong. Absolutely. Anything can happen. Like I said, nothing's guaranteed. You've heard me say that before. Nothing's guaranteed here. Not even my suggestions and my advice to you guys. But welcome to DFS. This is what it's all about. Maria Vanderveer is definitely, this Russian girl is definitely a good player. She's starting to get a little bit of time now. And obviously if Okuma Kay is out, she's going to get even more minutes. She put up 27 fantasy points the other day on Dallas with no Okuma Kay. 18 minutes. 6, 6, 2, 3, 1. I mean, she filled up the stat sheet. At 3,900, man, she's right now a pretty good deal. If she can go out there and do it again. She's gotten 22 plus in 2 out of the last 3 games, and that's because she's gotten some minutes. She put up 22 here in 13 minutes, folks. And again, it's all due to the fact that she scores. She does all the defensive stuff. She gets rebounds, all right? She gets blocks. She gets steals. If you get a player that can score a little bit and can be able to do these things and fill up the stat sheet like this, she's not a bad ball player. So 3,900, you need 19. She's already shown that she's capable of doing that. So I say she's going to have a good opportunity tomorrow, especially if Nneka Okuma Kay cannot play, then you could just pencil in Maria to get a little bit more time tomorrow. Mosquea Lewis is definitely someone you can consider here in this game. All right, 3,600, you need 16. She plays decent enough minutes. She's been getting close to 16, 10, 15, 13. I like Maria a little bit more for $300 more, but she could be sneaky. 21, she's been able to get there. I see that when I look at this stuff and I try to compare the two, this is one thing I look at. Okay, I look to see how she's done in the last few games, how many minutes, and how she's doing. Is she a scorer? Is she a scorer and she fills out the stat sheet? She defends well? Well, she's capable of getting some steals, but she doesn't do any blocks. She doesn't assist, pass the ball well enough, and she doesn't rebound enough. So automatically, this draws me to Maria. For $300 more, she does a little bit more while she's on the court. She's taking advantage of the situation. We love that. I mean, I love that. Okay? These are just little things that I look for. All right? So that's pretty much all the plays for me. I am not on anybody else over here. You could consider Gentel Lavender, but Gentel is not getting a whole lot of time. 3,400, you need 14, 15, and you know what? I mean, you know, it's just not enough for me. She got an 18 spot here in 17 minutes. So, but that's against Indiana, who was one of the probably the poorest defending team other than Chicago in the league. And that's pretty much it, man. That is pretty much it, man. That's what I'm looking at for tomorrow, man. So definitely some Della Don, some Sanders. Sounds pretty darn good to me. Tina Charles is in play, guys. You go to guard. Christie Tolliver, to me, top dog here in this particular matchup. If you were, Natacha Cloud, not, I wouldn't push her off, but I'd rather go all the way down, go maybe Ariel Atkins or possibly even a Bria Hartley. You can definitely save some money there. You can have a little sneaky value play with Monique Curry, and basically that is it. When it comes to the forwards, like I said, Della Don, Tina Charles are definitely in play. I love Sanders here, and I'm not on anybody else for New York. New York is tough for me. I really only like one or two of their guards and one center and one big man, and that's Tina Charles. When it comes to the Seattle LA game, definitely a little bit more choices here. You could pay up for Jewel Lloyd and hope that she has a freaking, awesome game, which she's capable of. Me personally, I'm going to fade her. I don't think that she's the right play tomorrow. Chelsea Gray, same thing. I'm kind of leaning more going down and paying a little bit down on guards. Maybe Sue Bird. Definitely like maybe Miss Williams here as well. And then, of course, when it comes to the big men, Breanna Stewart, Candice Parker, Natasha Howard definitely in play. A sneaky play here. Watch out for Maria Vanderveer. I think she'll be a good play. Lewis could possibly be a good play as well. And that's basically it, man. Set up your lineups. I know I'm going to get working on these tomorrow morning. I'm going to pencil in a couple of lineups. I always throw in a bogus lineup, 1, 2, 3, just to lock in the positions on the GPP. And then tomorrow I'll find some time and review everything and analyze, crunch all the numbers down, get Fantasy Cruncher up. Like I said before, I'm doing this video. It's like now 11:30 New York time on Wednesday night. I figured I was going to be really busy in the morning, and I normally do the videos early in the morning, and I figured let me just jump on it tonight, so I don't have Fantasy Cruncher on the screen here to show you some of the other stuff. But again, that's pretty much it, guys, man. I mean, get the lineups going, man. I wish everybody a lot of luck. And, again, drop a like on the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so down below. Share the video for those. If you know of anybody that's doing DFS, especially WNBA, and they're new to it, they really need some information. Myself, as well as a few other guys out there doing their thing, trying to help people out. So definitely take a look at some videos. Hopefully you can share mine with others. And that's basically it, man. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so down below. And again, any comments, you definitely want to, you want to ask me any questions. During the NBA season, people were asking me all the time. WNBA, I know a lot of you don't normally play WNBA, but hey, you know what? You're curious about something, just reach out to me. I'll do the best I can to answer your question. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I do have as you know, I put up my results and I put my information on the new Facebook page, as well as Twitter and Instagram. Definitely has all of my anything that if I win anything, I always post it up there. So hopefully I'll make some money tonight. Hopefully you guys make some money tonight. And God bless, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow.